Hey guys, welcome back to Justin Reads Romance. I'm Justin, and today we're going to be talking about some snowy, cozy winter romance recommendations. Now, I live in Louisiana and we don't actually have seasons here. We just have summer and like a couple weeks of freeze, and that's it. And I'm so jealous of everyone else who has actual seasons. But luckily, there are romances for that. I can read romances set in the wintertime where it's snowy. I love a good snowed in romance. That's like one of my favorites. I love it. So I thought to get into the winter vibe, I should do some romance recommendations that kind of put me in that wintry, cozy, snowy mood. I do like to pretend it's actually cold down here, turn the air down real low, and just kind of like bundle up with sweatshirts and blankets and slippers. And I love cozy weather, but we don't have that. My first recommendation is Storm by Carrie Cole. This is the first book in her Ashes and Embers series. Even though it's not like my top favorite in this series, I still think it's a very fun romance, very different rock star romance. The heroine, Evie, is on her way to a work conference and she's traveling alone using a faulty GPS system, and she gets absolutely lost and stuck in the snow. Luckily, a stranger happens upon her, which of course she's untrusting at first, and I'm like, bravo, good job. Stranger danger. But he's trying to help her, saying like, you're never gonna get your car out of here, you might as well come. There's nothing for miles. I have a cabin close by, and he has this huge dog that is so big it looks like a wolf. Evie reluctantly goes with this dude who looks a little bit scary to her because he has long black hair with like some color in it, and he wears eyeliner, and she's like, I don't know about this. They get in his truck, and lo and behold, he skids off the road and they crash too. So they have to spend a whole entire night in his truck with just each other's body heat for warmth. And I'm just like, perfect scenario. The only kicker is Evie is in a 12-year relationship. It is fizzling out. Like, she even asked her boyfriend to come with her because she felt uncomfortable, and he just bought her a GPS and said, I don't feel like going. So obviously their relationship is on the fritz. She and Storm do kind of have some intimate moments together, which technically is cheating, but I still love this romance. I love these rock star romances that Carrie Cole writes because they're not like your typical rock star. You mostly meet all of the heroes whenever they're not on tour, whenever they're at home just like relaxing and writing music. And so it's not like you're on tour with the crazy fans everywhere. And I really enjoy that kind of rock star romance where it's just kind of like normal life, not tour life and crazy life. Though there are a couple parties in this romance, and Evie does get a little bit jealous, but I digress. The next recommendation I have is Cow Sex by Leslie Jones. And yes, you heard me correctly. That title is called Cow Sex. And yes, I read this the first time because of the title, and I'm like, why is this called this? I have to figure out why she titled her book Cow Sex. Like, what is that about? The heroine, Gracie, is like a lifestyle fashion blogger, and she decides to take a 6-month vacation and rents out a cabin. Now, she is definitely not like the outdoorsy type of girl, and she meets a kind of local celebrity, Koa, and he's grumpy. And of course, there's snowed in vibes. They get to know each other. It's a little bit silly, a little bit cheesy. There's some good laughs in here. Overall, fun read. Next is The Gamble by Kristen Ashley, which actually kind of has a similar plot to Cow Sex. The heroine, Nina, is renting a cabin, and she finds out that she is not alone. The owner of the cabin, Max, is still there, and he's like, no, I'm here. I did not rent out this cabin, or I canceled it, and you weren't aware. You must have not checked. And they get snowed in together. There's nowhere for her to go. She gets sick. He has to nurse her back to health, and so they start to fall for each other. Now, Max has a bit of a tragedy in his backstory, and there's a mystery. There's a couple of over-the-top plot elements at the end that I was just like, okay, we're done now. But honestly, this book gives me all of the winter cozy vibes. And it's one of the books by Kristen Ashley that I actually enjoy. Next is one of my favorite books, Devil in Winter by Lisa Kleypas. This is the third book in the Wallflower series, and if you don't read the ones before it, you won't get what a huge redemption arc Sebastian St. Vincent gets in this book. But our heroine, Evie, is the quietest wallflower. You really don't know too much about her home life. You just know that her family is just like no good. She has a large fortune, which her mother's relatives really want. They don't want to associate with her dad, who owns like a gaming hell, because it's like dirty money. Like, they don't associate with that. So she's trying to get out from under their thumb, and Sebastian St. Vincent is an heir to a dukedom, but he is strapped for cash. His father kind of ran the dukedom coffers down, so he needs to marry an heiress. Evie is like, I know that you're desperate for someone to marry, so you might as well marry me. And she is the most soft-spoken. She has a little bit of a stammer, but she comes in kind of guns blazing, be like, I propose we have a marriage of convenience because we both need each other. Let's do it now. And he's just like, you don't have to tell me twice. Let's hop in a carriage and head to Gretna Green. So they go to Gretna Green and it is freezing this whole carriage journey. It is so cold and miserable, and they're trying to get to Gretna Green as fast as they possibly can so that Evie's relatives do not catch them before they're married. The ceremony is like one of my favorite scenes. I absolutely love it, and Sebastian is my ultimate Lisa Kleypas hero. I have other really ultimate ones, but Sebastian St. Vincent redemption arc, love him. He becomes such an entrepreneur and you would never guess that of him, and I love him. Next, we have a Christmas novella, which honestly, these are my favorites. I really like Christmas novellas. I like a short and sweet kind of Christmas themed romance read. It's just like a short and sweet treat. I don't normally gravitate towards full-length Christmas reads, but a novella I think is just the perfect sweet spot for me. A Wallflower Christmas by Lisa Kleypas is a little short novella about Rafe Bowman, and he is Lillian and Daisy's brother. All the Bowman siblings come from America, and Rafe is trying to prove to his father that he's ready to settle down so that he can inherit the empire, and he has like the perfect potential bride, Lady Blandford. The only problem is he's really intrigued by her companion. So of course all the Wallflowers have a hand in like setting up this romance, and you get to kind of catch up with all the Wallflowers now that they're all happily married, like what's been happening in their life, and I just really love it. It's like a short and sweet. I love this romance. It's so sweet. Now this one's a little bit different. Deep Kiss of Winter is part of the Immortals After Dark series by Cressley Cole, and it's not really Christmas themed, but the heroine is Daniela the Ice Maiden. She's like a wintry heroine, and she cannot be touched without causing herself pain. And so her fated mate Murdoch, they're trying to like work around, they like want to touch each other so badly, but every time they touch it like causes her pain. And so we have some discoveries about where Daniela comes from and what's the deal with all her like Ice Maiden vibes, because she's a Valkyrie, but like she has other things going on in the background. But if you want like a different kind of paranormal wintry read, I highly suggest this one. Next is Love in a Snowstorm by Zoe York. This is kind of like a childhood crush romance and also in love with my brother's best friend. Two tropes that I actually really enjoy. Danny has been crushing on her brother's best friend, Jake Foster, forever. He's an Army reservist and he's also a contractor. And when they meet again, Jake finally notices her and she kind of calls him out and be like, look, I'm grown now. I know what I want and who cares what my brother thinks. There's some really cute snowed in scenes and I just love this romance. It's simple, not too much drama, just a good winter read. And then finally, I have Beat of Temptation by Nalini Singh. Now this is part of her anthology, her larger anthology, Wild Invitation. This is the first novella and it's the story of the healer of the Dark River Pack, Tamsin, and her husband Nate. They have an age gap and this is a fated mates romance. It happens during Christmas. They're decorating a huge tree in the forest for Christmas and I absolutely love these two. It's a little bit angsty, but oh my goodness, I was so excited to like go back and see how Tammy and Nate fell in love, and you get to see like young Lucas and Vaughn, and it's just like very cute. Tammy is like a staple side character in the entire Side Changeling series, so it was just really nice to read her and Nate's romance because they're like the veteran couple. And Tammy's always there with some great advice to help all the other couples in the Side Changeling series kind of figure their ish out. And then I have a few books that are on my TBR and I'd like to read during this time. The first book I have is The Promise and a Kiss by Stephanie Lawrence, and this is a prequel to her Sinster series. If you read Devil's Bride, then you're familiar with Devil's mother, Helena, and this is the story of his mother and his father. Apparently their first meeting happens whenever he jumps out of a window into the snow to meet her. I don't know, it sounds crazy and something like what a Sinster would do to get the attention of his lady. So I'm really excited to read the love story between Sebastian and Helena and see where it all started. And then I have A Kiss for Midwinter by Courtney Milan. I think this is an enemies to lovers romance, and I think the hero is a doctor, and I love a good historical romance featuring like a blue collar working, like not a member of the aristocracy. And apparently the hero has been pining for the heroine for like a year or so, I'm excited about this. I really want to read it. I think it's perfect for this time of year. Next, I have Once Upon a Winter's Eve by Tessa Dare, and I think that this is a novella in her Spindle Cove series. But there's a Christmas ball and the hero falls at the heroine's feet, and I think she speaks like a lot of languages and she's the only one who can understand him. And there's a bit of a mystery because he's like bloody and beaten and it's like, what happened to you? So I don't know, it sounds like a really fun Christmas read. Then I also included an anthology with a lot of historical romance authors. It's How the Dukes Stole Christmas by Tessa Dare, Sarah McLean, Sophie Jordan, and Joanna Shoup. I love all these authors, so I definitely want to give this one a try. And finally, we have The Winter King by C.L. Wilson. This is a fantasy romance, but it has a cover that looks historical and I absolutely love it. But the hero is like the Winter King and he's kind of betrothed to like the Summer King's daughter. And I think it's a bit of an enemies to lovers romance, but I definitely want to read this before the year is through. It sounds really intriguing and I hope to love it because I also have the second one, but I'm definitely getting cozy winter vibes from this one. Alright guys, that's all the recommendations that I have for you today. If you have any cozy, wintry, snowy, snowed in vibes, recommendations, hit me up in the comments and let me know what they are. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure that you subscribe to get notified on any future videos that I do. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, life's better with a little HEA. Bye guys.